About 50 miles north of New York City, there is a small rocky island named Bannerman's. On it stands what appears to be a crumbling Scottish castle. It is indeed the remains of an empire built by a single man. The castle was constructed by an entrepreneur named Frank Bannerman, who was born in Dundee, Scotland in 1851 and immigrated to the United States at the age of 3. In 1865, at the age of 14, Francis founded his own company to sell military surplus goods. The business, called Bannerman's, went from selling scrap metal and munitions to full ships that Francis purchased at Navy auctions. With an appetite for growth, Bannerman bought 90% of the U.S. Army surplus after the Spanish-American War, and it became necessary to find a secure place to store their large quantity of very volatile black powder. When Bannerman bought the island in 1900, he set about designing his arsenal and storehouse in the style of the baronial castles he had seen during trips to Scotland. During the next 17 years, Frank Bannerman personally designed the island's buildings. He had so much inventory that during World War I, he sold cannons, uniforms, and blankets to the U.S. government. Construction of the castle persisted through the war, and it still wasn't quite finished when Bannerman died in 1918. The island has experienced a turbulent history since then. Just 2 years later, 200 pounds of shells and powder exploded, destroying a portion of the complex. Nevertheless, the family continued to use the residence through the 1930s. In the summer of 1969, a devastating fire burned the castle for 3 days, leaving much of the structures in ruins. Since the early 1990s, however, the Bannerman Castle Trust has worked for the preservation of the island so that the public may appreciate it for its cultural and historical value.